Everybody for joining today. I since we'll probably end up getting more people um, by the end of the video, and we'll probably end up losing some by the end of the video. I'll start out by saying that in the next couple weeks, the NAACP will be doing hosting videos. We'll have special guests chosen topic that allow the audience, the people who are watching, the opportunity to comment and, um, uh, and we'll respond to them. There'll be important topics, whether it's related to diversity, equity, inclusion, race, and just important topics that are going on in the country, in Dubuque, whatever. Um, and there'll be, you guys can send us messages and requests, to have somebody on here that you want to hear from, whether it's a city council member, somebody who maybe it's the police chief. I don't know, whoever you guys have, want to hear from about a given topic. Just feel free to shoot us a message, and we'll try to make that happen. Today we'll be covering, just feelings towards what's happening in Minnesota and across the country with the protests and riots, and we'll be discussing, just things that have been happening in Dubuque, the police chief's comments on the situation, and a couple of other things as far as moving forward. So I guess just to start out with the feelings towards the situation uh, in Minnesota, it's a terrible situation as it relates to, how we, the NAACP, feel about the protests and the riots and stuff like that. Uh, we'll take the stance, in solidarity with the Minnesota branch, NAACP, in that we couldn't, in good conscience, condemn how people choose to protest. Uh, you know, uh, in history and still presently, we've been condemned for taking a knee. We've been condemned for putting our hands up and asking not to be shot. We were mocked when we said we couldn't breathe. We said Black Lives Matter, and we were told all lives matter. We couldn't get Skittles and tea. We couldn't go for jogs. We can't stay in our homes. We can't be free of racism in the workplace. We got killers of black men who get GoFundMe accounts set up for them, and some of them get taken to Burger King. We aren't afforded the same civil liberties as white people all the time in all places. Uh, so what would those who have something to say about protesting and rioting have us do? It seems like we can't. It seems like no matter what we do, it's never good enough for people. I've seen where people can easily change their profile filters to say that they are with France or Blue Lives Matter, although I've never seen a blue person walking around. Uh, you know, but I've never seen them support, Black lives. Especially when they come under fire. It's always some excuse. So I can't condemn the actions of people who are fed up, being tired and poking, prodded and harassed in the streets, and getting no justice ultimately. If the Boston Tea Party was fine to get representation, what is a just approach for the right to be free and live when everything else is falling on deaf ears? So I guess my message to those protesters and rioters is, my message is be careful, protect yourselves and your loved ones, and make sure all of the moves you make, are not based solely on emotion, but with thought out calculation. Now to bring it a bit to Dubuque, I want to talk about the situation where, we had, I think it was three white women who organized or attempted to organize a rally for Dubuque, and I guess I want to start out by saying that I applaud them for organizing it for two reasons. One, because they felt moved enough to do something on behalf of people who were different from them, and two, because they gave people here an action to focus their pain on. So, I would invite them to join and be active members of the NAACP just as I would do any other race. I would like to talk about where I feel that they went wrong, or what they could have improved on, and also where, people who were given that backlash went wrong or could have improved on. And in my mind, it all boils down to communication and how we communicate with one another. Um, Do we believe that what they did was with negative intent? I don't, and I'm not sure how anyone else could. So I believe that the response that they received shouldn't have been as harsh. But when coming from a place of pain, it's a really touchy subject for a lot of minorities. I can understand how it could happen. But coming from my standpoint, sometimes allies need to be educated as well, and we have to be sure that we don't alienate those who do support our cause. Hopefully, we can learn from this moving forward on both sides, and hopefully, these women are encouraged to collaborate with minorities in the future. In my mind, they can absolutely be the face of an event because they can be angry too, and they can feel some sort of way about, the things that are going on in the country. Now, if it was like an event that was like Black People for Justice or something like that, then there definitely should be, Black people who are the face of that. But I see nothing wrong with, our allies supporting us, but they just need to communicate with the people who are there, trying to support and reach out and do the due diligence to set everything up appropriately and plan everything accordingly so that it's meaningful, impactful, and a success. That may be an unpopular opinion, but I don't care. Moving on. Uh, as far as the protests that are going on. Let's just even talk about Dubuque. Again, not going to condone that, uh, or not condone, not going to condemn that. Um, what I look at important questions like what is a protest and why do we protest? Who are we protesting to, and are they listening? And we protest and then what? A protest, to define quick, a protest is a statement or action expressing disapproval of or an objection to something. So if we look at Dubuque, I would say that there are a lot of things that we all disapprove of. So when organizing a protest, who are we protesting to? Is it the police chief? Is it the city council? Is it the county board of supervisors? Or is it state representatives? Is it the school board or other local groups? You can protest or you can protest once, but then what? Has your voice been heard? What are you saying that you want heard? This leads to the question, are we going to continue being reactive or are we going to be proactive? It's fine to start from a reactionary standpoint, which is what we're doing, but the protests can become a movement, which is what we need when you continue to protest proactively and not just when situations happen. So what does this look like? And I'll give you some examples from the NAACP standpoint. Now, while the NAACP may not be involved in every individual protest, we protest on a consistent basis. When we work to organize expungement fairs, we are protesting for criminal justice reform. When we fight for over 3 years for the source of income, we are protesting housing discrimination. When we sit in meetings with our elected officials, we are protesting unjust laws and fighting for all areas of life. When we research and present to the school board, we are protesting for an equity director to bring equity within the schools. When we collaborate with the organizations to create diversity, equity, and inclusion conference called Race in the Heartland, we are protesting an entire system and educating the larger population on how the system can be improved for all of us. When we collaborate with other groups on things that they care about and are pursuing, we are protesting the competition for resources and that which keeps us divided. When we hold the annual turkey giveaway, we are protesting by giving during a holiday which was centered around theft, murder, and rape. When we host voter registration drives, we are protesting for your right to choose who represents you. And finally, when we have the annual BBQ and DBQ, we are protesting division among different people by bringing them together to promote unity, which is what we need more of. And that's just to name a few of the things that we have going on in Dubuque alone. We tend to have a problem with the triage mindset where everyone thinks that they have it worse. So now you don't matter because you don't support me when I need it, and neither of us will get the necessary support when we need it, so our problems persist. But I digress because in order to bring all of this together, we need leadership, and we can't seem to get that right yet either. We have positive people doing positive things in this community, but it doesn't make them leaders. Leaders make sure the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. Leaders do not waver from their core calls when maneuvering different people. Leaders cannot stand up, or leaders can stand up to their oppressor when needed and work with the oppressors when needed. Leaders bring people together and value all opinions, allowing you to be heard, accepting of new their upset their upset I can't even talk right now. They're accepting of new viewpoints, shifting approaches while staying true to who they are and the cause. Uh, Time as we perceive it is scarce, and so investing it efficiently is of the utmost importance. A leader knows not to invest all of the movement's efforts, which equates to time in one basket. Just enough time and accolades given towards low-hanging fruit, while the heart and soul of the movement is focused on the roots of the system. A leader is chosen by the people. A leader is ready to sacrifice. A leader needs others who believe in them to sacrifice as well. Can you sacrifice your time to go to meetings, to learn new skills, to learn your opponent, so to speak, to stand, sit, or kneel in solidarity? Can you sacrifice your ego, which creates beef with your brothers and sisters, and work together to accomplish a goal? But I digress again. A leader is all of that and more. But what I feel the most important aspect of a leader we need is a leader who has the ability to develop other leaders. My mentor would have never been able to develop me if I wasn't open to becoming a better version of myself, which took and continues to take time and sacrifice. You have to decide whether you're going to sacrifice for the ability to create your own freedom, because it damn sure won't be given to you. Right now, we aren't organized or together enough for a movement, as I've described it already. But it can be developed, and if done so correctly, it will achieve great things. So what are the key points of what I'm saying? Because I'm sure I've pissed off some people and they've lost the meaning of what I'm saying in this video, and that's fine, because we got to be uncomfortable to evolve. Point one, we must have improved communication and education to and from our allies of different races, genders, and sexual orientations. We must unite our causes if any of us are to survive. Point two, it's fine to protest, but what comes next? Can we turn it into a movement? Can we organize better? Can we have plans? What are each of us willing to sacrifice? Are we inclined to learn how to make a deeper impact together? Are we willing to be led is a key question, you know? So in the words of DJ Khaled, that's a major key. Are we willing to be led? Point three, a final point that I'm just now making is to recognize the positives in order for the behavior we want to see happen to continue. You know, I've heard a few people mention the Dubuque police chief's comments on the Minnesota protests and riots. I thought it was well said. A comment that I've heard that stood out is that it was a political response. That may be so, but what would you have rather him condemn their actions? You know, would you have rather him say he doesn't think that there's enough evidence? Whatever, whatever the case, you need to acknowledge this. He said what he said, and now it's up to all of us to hold him and his police department accountable to his expressed viewpoint and how it applies to his force when they're in the streets and working with our people. And so, you know, just to make a long video short, that's pretty much all we have to say about that. That brings me back to the beginning. I know this video was just me talking, but moving forward, I would like us to continue the conversation. Like I said, we will have special guests. I already have a city council member who is interested in doing a video. So we'll determine what that topic will be around. Keep you guys informed. Hopefully you join. Hopefully you join with questions and wanting to engage in that conversation. Moving forward, because we want to focus on key people who have the ability to make a difference, who actually have the power to make these changes that we want to see and that you want to see. But they can't make changes if they don't know what you want changed, and if they can't hear your voice. So we want to give you that platform, if you don't have it already, to connect with these people and get your voices be heard. So, in closing, I would say follow the Dubuque NAACP Facebook page and the Race in the Heartland page. Since we don't know which videos or which platform we will do the videos from, but we'll have more information within the next week or so about and that concludes this video. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to, share those. I have myself and the president, Anthony Allen, who will, answer any questions that you have. If not, we'll give that about 2 minutes, and if not, we'll shut the video down. But I'm done. I haven't seen any questions. All right. See you guys next time. Hopefully, tune in when we have our next videos. Appreciate you.